I'm not kidding. If someone short gains 5 pounds, it looks like a lot more weight than if a tall person gains 5 pounds. If I gain 5 pounds, no one notices. If you gain 5 pounds, why does Brad look so fat all of a sudden?
You sure?
I am absolutely sure.
So you've been thinking that? You just didn't want to say anything?
I'm not thinking that about you. I'm thinking that in general about shorter people. Okay. That's one of the not side
Stigma?
effects. Not side effects. It's just one of the sad truths about being short is you can't gain weight without it being much more obvious.
Movieisms, sad truths. About Brad. It's bad enough that I'm fat and balding, and have hair all over my body. That is gross. And my body's falling apart. And no woman really has... There's no reason... I mean, in my face, like 40% of my face is covered with hair, so you can't even...
Well, you could shave, I mean,
slightly
Jesus.
But what's the point? It's a waste of time.
What do you mean with or without facial hair?
And guess what I'm doing with all of that time I'm saving? Nothing. I'm wasting it. Being in misery.
So you're saying with or without facial hair... No self-respecting woman would gravitate towards you with or without.
I can't respect any woman that would go out with me. What's wrong with her?
It's like...
that I'm on an option on the table.
So some woman picks you and you're like, nope, there must be something drastically wrong with you to be picking me. Yeah. So it'll never work.
Yeah. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. That's my philosophy on life.
And to think you were waiting for me to say something mean about you. It's better when you say the mean thing about you, because I don't even have to do any work. I'll just sit here and laugh.
Yeah, we're recording late because...
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. We just... it's 1 o'clock in the morning. We just saw Happytime Murders. And,
You were not so happy.
I was not so happy about it. So, alright, so Happytime Murders... Everybody... Well, I don't know about everybody. I keep saying, hey, Happytime Murders, and people say, what's that? It's like they don't know. It's like they don't know.
Like with the that movie Crazy Rich Asians, I saw a review where an Asian woman, her and her boyfriend went, and she saw the movie, and she went to her boyfriend and said, I didn't see any crazy Asians in there, and her boyfriend had to tell the Asian woman, it's crazy rich Asians. They're crazy rich.
It's in the movie. How is a person that didn't hear the person in the movie say that reviewing the movie?
I think because we're all racist. But the thing that she said was that it's a big thing in the Asian community that they're all trying to get all the Asians together. Let's go support this movie so we can have more Asian-centric movies.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing, by the way, you made fun of me for and thought was hilarious that I even had that as an idea.
Well, apparently that was a
with
thing.
With this Asian woman saying it, now you're bringing it back up to me as if it's a real thing now.
Yeah.
I was saying that just last week.
I didn't believe you. But my point is, I didn't see a lot of puppets in the audience to support Happytime Murders. Because, I mean, there aren't a lot of...
This is the first movie in several years where there's had any puppets in it.
I feel like I was the only one. Because I do feel like a puppet sometimes, and I look like one. I mean, there were times where the main character, it looked like me from the back. You even, I mean, they walked.
Yeah, except he was taller than you.
I don't know. He looked about the same size.
Maybe about the same size. He even was a little, like, barrel-chested. Yeah. Just a little bit.
He was fuzzier, but not hairier.
No.
He had a lot of fuzz.
He was the fuzz. He had more hair than you. He did have more hair than you.
Well, yeah, but that's lint. He really was just full of lint.
This whole conversation is funnier than the movie was.
Yes.
So
we had ideas after the movie that were funnier than the movie.
So Happytime Murders, I'm telling you, I've said, hey, you gotta go see Happytime Murders, and people don't even know what it is. Like, what movie is that? What's that about? And I have to tell them, and the only way to really explain to them is I just say it's rated R Muppets, which does summarize it, but it's
not as funny as you think. When you say rated R Muppets, immediately your mind goes to, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, rated R Muppets would be funnier than this movie, which is just rated R puppets.
Yeah.
So
trying to be humans.
It is a 2018 supposedly raunchier version of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I guess.
However,
that's funny.
The commercial, the trailer for this movie makes it look like it's like raunchier than it really is. It's really just language. There's one scene in this movie that is laugh out loud hilarious, and it's in the trailer, so we can even talk about it without spoiling it. Yeah. It's when he's got the
you might not have seen the trailer on TV, but
right,
because it's like a Red Band trailer.
Right. Well, there is a Red Band trailer out there, and there's a scene in it that is, when you see it cut together in the trailer, you're like, oh my god, there's the guy just totally tearing into this female puppet. They're like on his desk, just pounding away on a female puppet, and then there's the silly string ejaculation where it's like spraying silly string all over the place, over. And it just gets, it's weird because it's funnier in the trailer. Yeah. It's longer and there's more of it in the movie, but it's funnier in the trailer. Because if you remember in the trailer, he stops and then starts up again. Yeah. That's an editing trick.
The timing was better in the trailer.
The timing was better in the thing. It doesn't really happen that way in the movie.
No.
And it's remarkably unfunny at times. It does, and we talked about this in the last show. At least I was worried that it was going to be funny because of the one joke, that it's puppets cursing.
Yeah.
And basically that's it. Like you chuckle, but as the movie goes on, it's just the one joke over and over and over again, and it's not funny anymore.
It's basically a lot of missed opportunities, and Melissa McCarthy trying to fill in the funny blanks.
Yeah.
Which she does a pretty okay job.
There's one scene where she's funny. The rest of it is she's just bad acting.
She's just basically trying to save every scene, because I think her instincts were telling her, yeah, I'm not sure this is funny. I'm going to have to do something.
She was a producer on this film.
Yeah?
So she was in it to win it.
So I was incorrect in my...
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe they made her a producer on the film
so that she would
do it, or if she actively from the start became a producer on the film. I don't know the scenario on how she became a producer. However, the movie is a thoughtless murder mystery, who's killing the puppets scenario. And the thing is, we could sit here and talk to you about how the movie unfolds every step of the way, and you would feel like you've seen this movie before because you have. Yeah, and
okay. Now here's the problem. We wanted to enjoy this because you didn't watch cartoons really as a kid, but didn't you at least watch the Muppets or there was Sesame Street or something?
A couple times.
Okay, so you didn't even enjoy how funny they could be. Because some of them funny. Beaker. And
I appreciate the Muppets, but I would watch on Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night, the Muppet Hour or whatever that was on. I think it's ABC. The whole variety show that they did. I would watch that. but I never really thought it was funny. I never really thought the Muppets were all that funny. And I gotta say,
they had a couple of movies which were fun.
Gotta say, I couldn't tell you what happened in the Manhattan.
Just don't like Muppets.
I wouldn't tell you what happens in the Great Muppet Caper movie. I don't know what happens.
I couldn't either, but I just remember them being funny. What about them? Was it Jason Segel?
I loved that movie.
That was
The
real
Muppets.
funny.
It was just called The Muppets. Yeah.
But there was a Muppet version of him, kind of, wasn't there? Or plain
there was
vanilla?
there was a new Muppet, and he was a big fan of the Muppets, and they found a way to get him to be with the Muppets.
So I think that was the problem with this movie, is like the Muppets, and I mean, they know they're Muppets, so they act like Muppets. But in this movie, they're puppets, but it's like they don't know they're puppets, and they act like humans.
They know they're puppets, and at first you start to think, well, maybe it's going to be like a class or a race thing where there's like
because they talk about bleaching their purple. The or blue
puppets
color.
are second class citizens, but they don't even really follow that down anything. They just mention at the beginning that the puppets are sort of second-class citizens, and they don't really ever address it again, except that the humans look down on the puppets. They don't. There's a missed opportunity to make it about something, right. And it's just such a straightforward movie. Like when the puppet says "fuck," it's not there to be, oh, look, the puppet's saying "fuck." Mm-hmm. He's saying "fuck," and it might as well just be a person in that part saying fuck. Like it's not, there's no effect put into it. This could be a movie with all puppets doing this or all humans doing this, but the human puppet mixture, there was no reason for it to be human puppets mixture. The
biggest problem was that they didn't go far enough with any of the ideas.
Yeah.
It's like there would be a good idea, you'd see the potential, the premise of a great idea, or the beginnings of a great idea, but then they would just stop at the beginning of the good idea and then just move on to let's treat this normal.
Right.
Like, for example, oh man, I don't want to spoil it, but let's say there's a part where a human needs surgery and there's like a puppet hospital. And there's an opportunity there to make, anyone can imagine a bunch of puppets operating on a human. That would be funny to watch. But you don't see that in this movie.
Yeah, you could have it. Talk about being gross. You could cut her open. There's blood squirting everywhere, all over their face. Like it could be like a real horror show, but it's doctors.
Right. So it's
just puppet doctors.
So they're like, okay, this person had surgery from puppets, but let's continue with the serious story as opposed to show you a crazy puppet surgery, which would have been great. But that's the whole movie, right? Is that here's what could have been a good idea, but we're just gonna.
Yeah. You said, and another thing is the candy thing. So sugar is like the puppets
crack, I
cocaine.
Guess, or coke.
They snort sugar as if it's like cocaine, but they also have one human in the movie who snorts sugar as if it's cocaine, and it has like the same effect on her, except no other human in the movie is on sugar. They call them sugar smacked. There's no other human on sugar, and by the way, sugar doesn't affect humans like that.
Because she had a puppet liver.
Is that what it was? Maybe that's what it was.
So somehow the puppet liver was making it affect her the same way as the puppets, which doesn't really...
Okay, but it doesn't make any sense. But if that were true, we should have winos who are addicted to Mountain Dew, like soda. Soda should be their alcohol.
Candies. There's a lot of potential for product placement. They could have Skittles and all kinds of...
Pill popping, like it could be Skittle popping or Reese's Pieces popping, stuff like that. It just doesn't...
They didn't go far enough. There was a great idea. They could have done all kinds of... Like I made this little strawberry milk thing for just through my stomach tonight, and I thought, well, how come I didn't see crazy kid drinks? How come we're not seeing puppets getting drunk on kid drinks.
Chocolate milk.
Right, that's their booze. I mean,
it didn't.
They did. There was that human character did. Instead of alcohol, she was getting like syrup.
She was drinking syrup. However,
alcohol.
they never really showed that. You just saw, like, in the background, she poured and set it down and said maple syrup. And it didn't, they didn't show it.
Yeah.
You know, and what bothered me about that is when she dumped it out, it made a splashing sound as if it was water. That's just a picky sound design thing. But when she poured it out, it splashed. Syrup doesn't splash. Syrup doesn't pour out of something.
But that's another example.
That's
another example of how there's all kinds of ideas that could have been done from that, but they just did the one thing and then left it.
Yeah. So the movie is it's told straightforward. We talked about this before. It was like the movie had its idea. Hey, what if we have like rated R puppets? But then it put all its weight on the rated R puppet thing, and they didn't come up with any great ideas.
Right, that was the last good idea they had.
Yeah, it was like, oh, rated R puppets. We'll be able to make that last for an hour and a half.
It's like it seems like they had one meeting where they had a couple of good ideas. Oh, and they used sugar for whatever, and then the person has a puppet implant, and that was it. They wrote it.
And the office desk sex scene, or the silly string.
Silly string. And then that was it. Printed.
So that scene with the silly string and the ejaculation, I'm just going to see how many times I can say ejaculation in this. Ejaculation. That scene was tonally completely different from the other scenes in the movie. Like, suddenly it became a crazy slapstick comedy with puppets fucking, and then it's just a puppet smoking a cigarette and blowing every time he smokes, blowing smoke into someone's face. By the way, that's been done since like the 70s. That was a thing in the 70s and 80s, blowing smoke in someone's face and making them cough. It's not funny.
But even the Roger Rabbit movie did stuff like that funnier, like the baby with the cigar that talked like a big Italian
baby with the cigar, talking with like an Italian, smoking a cigar, was funnier than almost anything in this movie, and it was PG. It didn't have to be raunchy.
And that's what is wrong and what's missing in Happytime Murders is that things like that, everything we're talking about in reference, Muppets and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, they're characters. Each person is an or not person, but each cartoon in Roger Rabbit was its own weird, insane kind of character. In this movie, it's all the Muppets are made to be as human as possible, it seems like. And so they don't have personalities, they're not really funny. They're trying to be serious.
You could replace any puppet in this movie with a human being and have the same movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I don't want to see a puppet banging the shit out of another puppet. I want to see a puppet banging the shit out of a human. That's funny.
Right.
Or a human banging the shit out of a puppet.
That was missing too.
You know what? And it just it fell flat.
See, they didn't take any of the ideas far enough.
No, they just didn't. It just fell flat.
Let me just tell you, everyone out there, if you are a writer or want to be a writer, make movies, whatever, once you have an idea, before you say, okay, this is it, no more changes, take the good ideas and just as far as into ludicrous land, just keep going until...
Especially if it's supposed to be a comedy. If it's supposed to be this kind of comedy, like There's Something About Mary. There's Something About Mary is probably the best shock comedy movie that at least in the last 2 decades. And that movie has scene after scene after scene that gets funnier and funnier and funnier as it goes. There's the scene of him in high school when they're getting ready for prom, and he zips his balls up into the zipper. That scene gets funnier and funnier and funnier because it goes places you don't expect it to go, And then they finally show you the shot of the zipper wrapped around his testicles, his testicular area. And when they show you because you've waited so long in the scene, you start to think maybe they're not going to show us. And then they do show you, and it shocks you into laughing.
And so, about to finish what I was saying, that's a writing exercise. It helps you to not tell the same story, copy and paste, because all stories have been told already. We're just reinventing new ways to tell them.
This one's been told many, many times. Just putting puppets in it doesn't make it funnier. So
what I'm saying about just go as far as you can go is really just an exercise. You don't do all your scripts like that, but you gotta... it's just a thing you need to do, especially in a rewriting process. You got to take some of those ideas. How far can we take this without it ruining the movie?
You wanna rewrite the movie? Yeah. Let's rewrite the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So the premise of this movie is there's a show that we saw 30 seconds of called Happytime. What's this maybe called?
That's why it's called Happytime Murders, because the TV show was Happytime or something.
Happytime something, the Happytime Hour or something like that.
Right.
So, in the Happytime Hour, looks like it's a Muppet style show, funny, silly, all that stuff, like good, wholesome fun. But the show has ended, and now years later, the show is going into syndication. Right, which is reruns. This is way more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah.
So somebody is
I'm bored already.
somebody is murdering the former stars of this show for because when a show goes when a show goes into syndication, that's when people start making money on top of money. Yeah. Because you got paid for the show, and now you get paid every time the show airs. So you could get paid for the same show over and over and over again. So the way it works out in the contract in this movie is if the person's dead, their spouse gets it, but if their spouse is dead, then
oh my God.
Then all the sole surviving puppets gets the money.
I think we're losing listeners as we try to describe
so that's
the plot of this movie. This is so boring.
So that's what I'm saying. It just is. It's who gives a shit, right?
Right.
So
they're puppets. I don't care about any of that.
So I think what would have been funnier to me is to be in the world of Happytime Murders. Not Happytime Murders, but Happytime on the set with these characters who are doing their show, this kids show, and seeing them. That's where we could have got the silly puppets thing, like freaking out every time someone dies, and someone's dying on set every day or something like that.
Like it would have been funny if they were actually puppets mentally, like childlike.
Yeah.
They don't know reality like we humans do, so murders happening and all that, it could be
freaking them out. Why is someone murdering sweet innocent puppets? We don't even know what murder is. We're sweet innocent puppets. We're like you said, childlike. So that's the premise. Then we can see the silly show taking place, and we still have the contrast of the dark, seedy underground world, and we could have the same thing. So that premise right there, I think would have made the movie funnier because we get to see the puppets freaking out.
Yeah, what we needed was a contrast. Yeah. We know what humans are like, so let's see what puppets but the puppets, we don't need to see puppets acting like humans. We want to see what's the difference between puppets in our world and humans.
Yeah. The puppets that kept dying are puppets we'd never met before, so we didn't care.
There was only one funny death, in my opinion, when the dogs... Because I had a dog. I mean, a lot of us have had dogs. And when a dog sees a doll or a stuffed thing, they will attack it.
There was one murder where, for some reason, instead of just shooting the puppet like they did before, they sent the dogs in to tear the puppet apart.
That was fun.
That was funny. It was funny.
But then the murder scene after... I mean, I mentioned on a previous show about the Muppets Faces of Death video. It's probably on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's funnier because they took time to place Muppets in such a way that it just looked funny with the mouths open and the eyes and the butt and all of that. But all the murders I saw in this, it's just a lot of stuffing everywhere, and you can't. There's nothing to look at that's funny.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's just not funny. It's amazing to me that they could come up with an idea that would be should have been funny.
How do you mess it up?
And missed the mark so many times.
It's like they didn't know they were making a movie about puppets.
Right.
You're trying too hard to be.
And you said it. This movie, I think you said that the movie is taking itself too seriously.
Yeah,
when
which
it
is
should
what we
have
said
realized,
about the Meg.
Yeah, where it should have realized it was
A movie with puppets.
A movie with puppets.
The Meg should have realized this is a ridiculous shark movie. It's ridiculous. Let's be ridiculous. And Happytime Murders should have just been ridiculous. Let's see puppet personalities. I want to see them react to, what is a murder? You know, Mommy got murdered. What does that mean? She won't be around. Are you my new mommy? You know.
The script was so incredibly...
you know what?
Just not even the jokes. Aside from the jokes, the plot was so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What comes next? 8, 9, 10. Then it's over.
Yeah, I've seen puppets. You know, like you might not have ever seen it, but to see a puppet react to something, like you see its mouth drop down, and then it starts shaking, and then its mouth starts opening wide a little bit while it's shaking. That is hilarious. Yeah. None of that happened. No. I feel like all the people doing the puppetry, I don't want to say they were amateurs, because it said alternate, what was it, Henson alternate, HA for Ha.
Yeah.
I feel like, how come... The puppets didn't have personality. I kept looking at them. I kept thinking, how come they don't animate their eyebrows? Why can't they blink or move their faces? Because I might have enjoyed the performances more if it wasn't the same. Like the one guy had the angry look all the way through the movie.
You know how you have...
They didn't emote.
There's no emoting. You know how we have... sometimes we'll have an actor in a movie that is normally in like a comedy or an action movie, but this is their one chance to be considered a serious actor.
Yeah. And
it's obvious how miscast they are, and the only reason they're in the movie is because they're gonna take a swing for the outfield and just try to really, but they're not. That's like, it seems to me like that's what this was for puppets. Puppets are like, this is our chance to do a rated R movie.
We're going to get an Oscar.
We're going to be serious actors now. The puppets are like, we're going to be serious actors now, but it's filled with bad performances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad puppet performances.
Yeah, and it's not bad puppeteering, because it's interesting watching the puppets move, and they do cool things like light lighters with the and smoke cigarette. It's not like it's bad puppeteering. It doesn't fit into the world they created. It is produced by Henson, Jim Henson Productions,
which is his son is in control, right? Jim Henson's son.
Yeah.
Jim Henson.
Why can't I remember his name? It's Brian Henson.
Maybe, I think so. Yeah.
So it is put together by them. They've missed so many opportunities to poke fun at themselves.
Yeah.
Just to poke fun at themselves.
Yeah, even ventriloquists. Some of the funniest things ventriloquists do is making reference to, it's hard to talk about it with the guy's hand up my ass the whole time. You know.
Yeah.
Make reference to what is, come on. You're a movie about puppets trying to solve a murder and killing other puppets, so...
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so celebrate...
Be ridiculous.
Yeah, celebrate that. Be ridiculous. Yeah. Don't take that seriously, because it ruins the joke.
You're ruining your own movie.
Yeah. There's so many... I hate... Anyway, I I'm telling you guys, neither one of us take pleasure in, and I don't like saying here's how it should have been better, but in order to make the point, I felt like we had to just give a couple examples of why didn't they go further with that, because then it would have been funny. Then we could have said, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Anyway,
there's no reason to do spoilers.
There's no reason. Yeah, there's no reason. The spoiler alert is that the movie's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some people are gonna see it anyway. I
wanted to like it. I like the idea of, like, if there was ever a world where there would be rated R Disney princesses, I would be the first one in line. I like it.
A puppet pimp. Why wasn't there a puppet pimp? That would have been freaking hilarious.
Give
me my money.
Yeah, slapping.
Oh my god!
Slapping puppet hose around and puppets.
Where was that?
Where's my money, bitch? You know, all that stuff.
Yes,
it just wasn't in
that.
there. It just wasn't in there. It was like so non. You know, it just just.
I feel like the audience does more to. I mean, not the audience. I feel like the movie does more to give the audience better ideas of what could have been done with the movie because of what's lacking, what they didn't do with it.
So, well, that's our review of Happytime Murders.
Not so Happytime Murders, I decided.
Which is not funny, not good. Yeah. And it was bad. So you go into it thinking, this could be kind of dumb. But it's not dumb humor like a Will Ferrell movie.
Right.
It's dumb, like bad dumb. You know,
it's dumb like a whole bunch of dick jokes dumb that aren't really funny.
So that's it. Our advice is don't see it. Or at least wait. Don't spend your...
Don't spend a lot of money on it. Spend the least amount of money possible. Or see it for free later on a paid thing.
You know what else opened this weekend that is not playing here in Orlando, as far as I know? I haven't seen it playing in any theaters. Is that movie Searching that you don't want to see because it's a lot like Unfriended?
Oh.
It's the movie.
I'm so tired of on a computer screen movies.
Well, as far as I know, there's only one. Called Unfriended. No,
I've seen two. The horror genre really took to that idea.
Yeah.
I've seen at least 3 completely on one screen movies.
So I only saw the one. It was Unfriended, and I thought Unfriended was done well. It wasn't my favorite movie, but it was at least something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I lasted about 3/4 of the way through the movie before I started thinking that it's a real big stretch that any of this would still be happening over a computer screen.
Is this the future of film? Because all the millennials, all the young kids today, that's their experience of life. So is that the hell we live in? That one day we'll be old, and that's the only way movies are made because that's how everyone interprets reality on a computer screen.
It's the new found footage. Because found footage was cool at first, but there was always this conceit that you weren't quite sure that why would this be in the found footage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I have felt from the start that the movie Searching looked like it could be interesting. It's not Unfriended. It was a movie that uses that idea. Like I said, it's the new found footage in the screen. So it uses that idea, but it's a dad trying to figure out what happened to his daughter because his daughter's missing. This movie has 92% on Rotten Tomatoes by critics and audiences.
It has a what?
92%.
Wow.
So I'm thinking that it's a lot better than you think it might be. That's just
if we get an opportunity, I will go see it because Happytime Murders left a bad taste in my mouth. So,
tastes like silly string.
Here's the thing: I like the actor that's in. I don't know his name.
I just lobbed you one, man. I just lobbed you one. You didn't even hear it. You said it left a bad taste in your mouth, and I said, "Does it taste like silly string?"
Oh.
You spit or
because
swallow.
I'm a Muppet that sucks my own dick.
Not your own dick, but the puppet's dick.
So I suck puppet dick?
I'm just asking you.
Is that the joke? What's the punchline here? I'm too white to get it.
It's not even white. Like, now you're making race jokes. Like,
oh, that would have been another. They're black puppets. And then, and you set up the typical, because you're black joke, but it's because they're a puppet. And he goes, oh, because I'm black. Anyway.
Is it because I'm a puppet?
Or something like that. Yeah. Just reverse the...
Yeah, because I'm a puppet. There was none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a whole entire world of race jokes to work with.
And they didn't go there.
Who wrote this movie? I feel like we need to find out who wrote it.
You know who wrote this movie? People who have written The Muppets. And they don't know how to write a rated R movie that makes fun of themselves.
But that's what I'm explaining to you. The PG Muppet movies are funnier than this movie.
They're way funnier. Yeah, and you were right about the little baby in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The little baby in Who Framed Roger Rabbit was funnier than almost anything in this movie. What might have been funnier in this movie was the sex, the puppets having sex gag. Other than that, though. So, Searching, though, looks like it could be good. I've thought that it looks like it could be good from the start, but you never really know when you see a trailer. When you see a trailer, because trailers are sometimes good where movies aren't.
I'm laughing because, a movie's bad when we give up on doing a spoiler thing and... we just start talking about other movies we'd rather be watching.
Yeah, I'm tired of talking. There's nothing to say about them. There's actually, it's not even the good kind of bad where you get pissed about it. It's
just disappointing.
It just was
how it's worse when your parents say, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed." That's this movie.
Yeah,
we're not mad. We're just disappointed. How did you miss it?
I think Searching will be in our area next week.
Yeah.
We should go see it.
I also, I'll let you guys know on the next, this weekend's quick picks maybe, if the Woody Harrelson Lost in London on Netflix is any good, because I'm going to watch it. Because you and I are filmmakers, and we celebrate when people do experimental kind of stuff this.
Why don't you watch it, and then we'll save this conversation for the Friday show.
There we go. Okay. Let's just end it because
you guys won't hear any of that because I'm going to cut it out.
Yeah. Oh well. Too bad. So you know what we need to do? We need to record us saying the end of the show, and then you just copy and paste that at the end.
No, it gets boring that way because it's the same thing over and over again. People start to feel like you're scripting them.
Okay, so go to movieisms.com and freaking movieisms@gmail.com. Boy, this movie's got me in a bad mood. I remember giving you a face at the end of the movie. And man, the credits were longer than almost a real movie. How many puppets made this movie?
There was not even the joke at the end of the credits that says no puppets were actually harmed in the making, which should have been in there. Like, if these people knew that what kind of movie they were making, that would have been in there.
Yeah. So, I don't mean to be bitter. It just, I want to stop talking about the movie because it's so disappointing.
All right. That's it. We'll
see Gmail, freaking YouTube, and Twitter, like Facebook, and, it's their social media, and we're on it.
Movieisms.
Google Movieisms.
Movieisms@gmail.com.
Don't make us do the work. Just Google it. If you care, but you don't.
Movieisms@gmail.com. Movieisms.com. Instagram.
Oddly enough, we never said this on the show before, but Twitter wouldn't let us use Movieisms.
You say it every time, just about.
I say Movieisms_pod, but I haven't specifically complained about them not allowing us to.
Yes, you have.
And every time we go on, it's like, you've committed an illegal action. You cannot do Movieisms. Okay. Cut it all out. I don't care.
Yeah, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Whatever. not only did you have to talk about the movie we didn't
It's
like, but now you have to listen to the movie that we talked about.
It's interesting, Meek, because 10 minutes ago you said, can we end the show? And then you've been talking the whole fucking time. I'm trying to let the show be over. I'm trying real hard.
Okay.
Even I stopped talking. And I never stopped talking.
And the end! Just end it!
Movieisms is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you'd like to find out more, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And make sure you click like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/movieisms. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review in iTunes. It only takes a minute and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.
Okay, that's the end.
Press stop, Brad. End it.